next story I want to tell you is a story, again, strange, but I like strange stories. This story is called Baboon Skins. There were two sisters who grew up in Africa, and they were fathers of the king. Now, a great king could have as many wives as he can afford. This king could afford two. And the wives each had one daughter. They were the most beautiful girls in the village. The problem was the mothers. The mothers did not like each other. And the first daughter, who was called Beauty, she just was so radiant. And the mother was going around always talking about how beautiful her daughter was compared to the second daughter, who was given the name of Thrown Away. But she also was beautiful. And this mother was very kind, but yet and still there was always a fight. And the jealousy got so bad that the first mother had gotten a person to try to cast some sort of a spell over the family. So the young daughter gets up, Thrown Away, and she goes out and she sees what she knows is a sign that her family is trying to be cursed. She goes back to her mother, and they go and they find a holy man who fixes everything. But the daughter is so hurt. She says, this has to stop. I can't live like this. We shouldn't have to fight like this all the time. And she makes a decision. She tells her brother, bring me 2 baboon skins. And she takes the baboon skins and she sews them together. And she puts it on. And she says, I will wear this baboon skins until my older sister weds. And that way it will take away all the problems. The only thing you could see was her beautiful eyes cut in the face of the baboon. And the bottom of her knees down. Well, of course, the older mother laughed and talked about her. All the people were talking. What good person in their right mind would walk around wearing baboon skins? Nobody. And they talked, but you know, after a couple of days, what she wanted to do took place. The girl's mother and her older sister stopped all the fussing. For many, many months, there was peace in the village. Until the day a great king sent his ambassadors. He was looking for a wife. Not just one wife, but 2 wives. And then they went to the king of this village and says, do you have any daughters that would be suitable for our king's wife? And of course, the first one steps up. Oh, my daughter is the most beautiful that you'll ever see. And they look at her and they see her beauty and they are so taken back. They say, yes, our king will be well pleased by her beauty. Is there another daughter? And again, the mother says, oh yeah, there's one. Yeah, go bring Thrown back. Bring her here. The Thrown Away comes, dressed in a baboon skin. And they look, but they can tell by the way that she walks with such grace and such strides of elegance that there was something special about her. Though they could not see her body, her legs were so shapely. And the way she carried herself made them wonder. They said, now take off your baboon skins that we may see you. She says, no. She says, I will not take it off until my sister is married. Or the man who chooses me will choose me for me and not for how I look. So over and over they try. They say, certainly you must be deformed. Either that or you're just ugly. Calm and even tempered. She never fusses. She never complains. She just tells you, no, I will not take it off. And as they watched her and as they listened to her kind temperament, these men were attracted to her as well. I thought, I don't know. if we take her back and she is truly ugly, the king will have our heads.
Yeah.
But there is something about her. So they agreed to the king, we will take both daughters. We will send for them. So they go back and they tell the king, and the king is excited about the first daughter, Beauty. But this second daughter, he's not so pleased. When the time comes, they send for the daughters to come for the wedding. And they leave. And as they walk, the first beautiful daughter comes before the king, and he is truly pleased. And he tells his ambassadors, you have done a very good job. She is indeed a very beautiful woman. And then he sees the girl dressed in the baboon skins. He looks at her and he begins to talk. And again, he is enchanted by the way she moves, the beauty of her legs, and the sparkle in her eyes. To the point that he begins asking, please take off your skins. Not until the wedding morning, my king. If you choose me as your bride, it will not be because of my physical beauty. You will choose me because of who I am and not how I look. And the king finally gives in. The very next morning, the two girls go out and they bathe in pools that are separated from each other. Beauty with all of her friends thrown away with her bridesmaids. While they get into the pool, she takes off the baboon skins and she rolls them up and she puts them in a hole. She washes, cleans, and she gets out and she dresses very simply. Her bridesmaids are putting on beautiful outfits, but she dressed simply in a black skirt made of ox skins. And around her waist, white rich pearls. And when she got out into the open, her bridesmaids looked at her and says, oh, you have become more beautiful than ever. And it was true, because she had covered her skin had become softer, almost like a baby, and smooth and gentle. And that radiant look of hers made her even more beautiful than she had been before. And then it was time for the wedding. And as the wedding came, the two wedding parties started to come. And of course, Beauty stepped up front. And as they walked into the great place for the wedding, all the people were cheering and looking at her and said, oh, how beautiful, and oh, how beautiful. But behind her was taken back. And as she came up, they looked at Thrown Away and they said, she is so beautiful. Look at her stride. Look at her elegance. And they all celebrated and applauded until the whole crowd started cheering for her. And when the king saw her, and he saw not only the beauty on the outside, but the beauty he had fallen for on the inside, he was so moved that he had gone and told his ambassadors that he was only going to send 40 cows for the both of them. He says, but give the 40 cows to the first mother. And I want you to get 100 cows to honor my new wife. And that's what they did. If you can imagine, the first mother was so embarrassed that her daughter was not considered the most beautiful and that she was only valued at 40 cows, but thrown away. And 100 cows paid for her. She was so embarrassed that she hid in her hut for months. And she never again started trouble with Thrown Away's money. And this is a lesson for us all. That as we seek beauty and as we seek love, don't get caught up on the outside. Real love, real beauty is eternal.